The better I got at making fast decisions, the better the money flowed in.
Welcome to the Bedros Keuilian Show.
Money and success are attracted to speed. Guys, welcome to the Bedros Keuilian Show. My name is Bedros Keuilian. Today's episode is all about speed and how you can use it to stack the odds in your favor in business and in life. So let's get started. Now, what I found in my 25 years as an entrepreneur is the better I got at making fast decisions, the better the money flowed in, right? And obviously, you're like, well, duh, Bedros, you have been in business for a long time. You have been making money for a long time. And each year that you get better at it, you probably make faster decisions. On the contraire, mon frere. The truth of the matter is that you can start making fast decisions now, because I started making fast decisions way back then because my mentor, Jim Franco, taught me the value of making fast decisions. Now, this isn't just about making fast decisions. It is about taking an idea to execution fast. And I'm going to teach you how you're going to do it without feeling like you're going to fail and lose it all, because I get it. Why do we not use speed in our life and in our business? Because we feel like if we are reckless, if we make a decision that is irreversible, that we might lose it all, right? We'll lose our money, we'll lose our house, our reputation, your family. And that's a substantial amount of loss to experience. And so if you're operating that way, you're like, dude, I can't make a fast decision. I need to gather all this information, weigh things out, look at the pros and cons, and then eventually make a decision. But I'm here to tell you something. When you do that, you end up procrastinating so long that oftentimes the window of opportunity closes. So I'm going to give you an example of a few fast decisions that I've had to make in my life. I'm going to teach you the difference between reversible speed and irreversible speed, right? Because there are things that are irreversible that if you speed into action, they're not going to work in your favor. They're irreversible. You're going to go out of business. But there are many things, more things, in fact, that are reversible. The problem is that you tend to think that they are irreversible. You catastrophize it in your head, like I used to when I was a younger, newer entrepreneur. And so then we lock up and we freeze instead of using speed to our benefit. So let's dive into this. So first and foremost, I want you to adopt this mindset, or at least consider the idea of adopting this mindset, that if you can lower the cost of being wrong through speed, then that is going to be favorable for you, because being wrong is okay. And thinking that being wrong means a fatal and catastrophic decision is not the way to operate. Being wrong just means you made the wrong decision, you ran down the wrong path, or you spent money in a wrong direction and you need to course correct. So I want you to get used to the idea of lowering the cost of being wrong, right? In other words, being wrong is just a way of getting feedback and data to be able to know what the right thing to do is. That's thing number one. Thing number two is to be able to make speed the default so that you can keep the feedback loop coming faster and faster and faster, right? So, Jocko Willink always talks about default aggressive, right? Isn't that another way of saying default speed? So if you can make speed the default thinking capacity in your business, in the way you guys operate, now that doesn't mean that you're going to make a decision and launch everything you have in that one decision, but you might take a small cohort of customers or prospects and test something out very quickly with them to be able to get feedback, see if it worked. If the results were favorable, then you deploy it to everyone else, right? And that's what I want to talk to you about, because a real life example that you guys happen to know is what I'm going to share with you right now. Now, you guys know that I'm the founder of Fit Body Bootcamp, and up until 2021, I was also the CEO of my franchise. And then, of course, Bryce Henson, who at the time was the VP of my company, in 2021, we elevated him up into the CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp. So I'm the founder of Fit Body Bootcamp. And the whole plan was, when we brought Bryce on board as the CEO, or as the VP originally of Fit Body Bootcamp, the plan was that he would come in 2018, he would learn the ropes, he would learn the team, the business model, et cetera. We're a big international fitness franchise, right? And then he would eventually step into that CEO seat, which he has, and he's done it well. And the reason I needed him to do that was to help free up more time from the day-to-day operations of Fit Body Bootcamp so that I could dive into the next thing that I wanted to do. And if you guys remember, in 2018, when Bryce came on board as CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp, in 2019, I created a little supplement company called Trulean Supplements. And at the time, Trulean Supplements was all about the higher quality in supplementation, meaning grass-fed whey protein with no hormones or GMO, sweetened with stevia and monk fruit and nothing artificial. We also had vegan protein, again, very top of the line, high quality, sweetened with only the best monk fruit and stevia. We had Everyday Fit, which was our hydration and amino acid drink in 4 or 5 different flavors, right? We created the Super Greens, which was obviously our version of the greens, and it tasted like the Jolly Rancher, the green apple Jolly Ranchers, if you remember those, tasted phenomenal. Again, slightly sweetened with stevia and monk fruit, all natural stuff, no preservatives, always third-party tested. So the whole idea of Trulean was that we would have this supplement product line that was the highest echelon that you could get, right? The premium product. You're not taking in chemicals and preservatives and artificial sweeteners and highly processed crap. And so we launched it to Fit Body Bootcamp, my franchise, because when you have, 500 plus franchise locations and each of them have hundreds of clients in them, you've got a sitting market there ready to use the product. And it worked well. It worked well, but as I wanted to grow it bigger, we decided to go direct to consumer. So we wanted to sell outside of Fit Body Bootcamp as well. And that's when I launched Trulean supplements in early 2019, we created Trulean supplements. And then by late 2019, we went from not just selling it in Fit Body Bootcamp, but also selling it to the world, right? Through our Trulean.com website. And, sales were good, not great. Nothing exciting. And then what happened March of 2020? Well, we realized that there's this virus called the coronavirus, and the pandemic, which was a byproduct of COVID, became a thing, right? And I remember on March 16th of 2020, I announced to all of my franchisees, Fit Body Bootcamp franchisees, guys, we have to shut our locations down for 2 weeks and to flatten the curve, right? Because we want to flatten the curve because we don't want this COVID virus to spread across the nation. So we'll do our part. Now, at the same time, I'm a very paranoid person because I come from a communist country. And so I turned to Bryce, who is now my CEO, back then my VP, and I said, Bryce, in case we're not shut down for 2 weeks, in case the shutdown goes longer, we need to figure out how we can transition clients from in locations across the United States to working out in a location to transferring each of them. Every location would have their private Facebook group, and then we would create follow-along workouts here at HQ that we can drop into that private Facebook group so that the owners of those locations could coach the clients online, and we would drop a daily follow-along workout every single day. That way our franchisees can stay in business, and that way we can stay in business. So Bryce and the team were working behind the scenes in case the pandemic went beyond the 2 weeks, which I had a feeling it would. And as we know historically now, it did. Fuck Fauci. So with that said, what happened next, right? Well, I knew that all of a sudden the conversation that we're hearing after March is people with compromised immune systems need to be careful. They need a shelter. They need to mask themselves. They need to maintain 6 feet. Once again, fuck Fauci, because he recently said that he arbitrarily came up with that 6 foot number, and there was no scientific credibility to that whatsoever. So that aside, we saw that the immune system conversation was a real thing. And what do we know? Well, we know that if you work out and you exercise, your immune system is going to be better. If you're around other people, because humans need humans, your immune system is going to be better. You're not going to be depressed. If you're outside, walking in the sun, getting sun, well, your immune system is going to be better. Now, I don't know what happened across the country. Actually, I do. Now, some of you free states like Texas and Florida and others, you may have had people outside walking around in parks and beaches. But here in California, Governor Newsom even closed down parks and beaches. So now you can't get sun that's good for immune system. You can't have social interaction that's good for immune system. You can't go to a gym that's good for your immune system. And so we hear these conversations about immune system, and I'm like, man, all right, I wonder what supplements are out there. I know there's individual supplements out there that are going to help boost the immune system. Like I know vitamin D that you get from the sun that you could take as a supplement is good for your immune system. Great. They talk about it on the news. We heard more about it in 2020, April, May, June than ever, right? But so I'm like, start doing my own research. Like, what do I take for this stuff? Well, I take vitamin C, I take vitamin D, B12, echinacea, ginger, turmeric, all these things, right? And what many of you don't know is that the Trulean wellness shot, this little guy right here, did not exist. This guy did not exist. This was not part of our original Trulean SKU and product line. In fact, We had no intention of creating a immune system boosting product that was, packed with great vitamins, minerals, and echinacea and ginger and turmeric that was going to help boost your immune system and, of course, fight off inflammation. This was a byproduct, a call to action, because once we saw that there's nothing out there, a product that is designed to help boost your immune system, maybe the exception would be if you went to like your local smoothie shop or something, and in their little refrigerated section, you would buy those little bottles of ginger shots that had like ginger and vitamin C, and some of them had turmeric, ginger, and vitamin C, but that was the extent of it. But who had all of it together? No one, right? And if you went to the grocery store, what would you see? You would see those little emergency packets, right? Little packets that are shaped like this, the emergency. And it was just vitamin C, the lowest quality of vitamin C, and sugar as a sweetener, so that it would taste good. And you would mix it up with water and drink it and hope that, your cold or your flu or whatever, the duration is shortened and the impact is not as bad, right? Well, okay, we know that vitamin C is just one of like 9 different components that you need to boost your immune system. And so you look at the other options out there. Okay, well, there's that airborne product that you put the little tablets in the water and they dissolve and you chug a lug and drink. But okay, that's not going to do the job either. And we know that the sugar that they put in the emergency packets, that sugar competes with the same receptor site that the vitamin C does, which means the 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C that's in there is not even getting absorbed in your body, right? So I'm like, guys, no one out there has a product for the immune system. Right now, everyone's talking about compromised immune systems and what you can do to keep your immune system strong to fight off inflammation. What if we create something that is like an all-in-one, like top of the 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 pyramid kind of product, right? That's how the Trulean Everyday Wellness Shot came to be, right? Vitamin C, vitamin D, turmeric, ginger, echinacea, astragalus, zinc, B12. And so we put everything in this product that was going to boost your immune system and help you out. Lo and behold, it started to sell like hotcakes, right? Why? Because there was an opportunity that we were able to capitalize on very quickly. June. So think about this. March 16th, the pandemic kind of hits, right? That's when everybody around that second week of March was when everybody was locking down and the conversation of the immune system and lockdowns were starting to become a thing in 2020. So that's March. April, May, I do the research. There's nothing out there that's really good for the immune system and an all-in-one product. By June, we come up with the idea of creating the Trulean Wellness Shot. By late July, we have our first batches out and being sold, right? So in a matter of 3.5 months, we create a product, speed of implementation, and it didn't have everything that it has in it now. Like now we also have hydration components into it, like electrolytes, right? Sodium, potassium, magnesium. And we created something and we put it out to market, and the market responded. They responded because we put it out when the window of opportunity was wide open, when the conversation was most relevant about the immune system, and we created a product that served the need of the people because they're not going to gyms, they don't know what to eat, there's no supplement out there, they're not walking out in the sun. And so I wanted to create something that addressed the immune system in the most impactful way. So we did, and it worked out. So now fast forward 5 years. And if you've been following our journey, or Trulean, if you're, thousands of people, of course, used many Trulean products, what did you see us do? We eventually cut out the whey protein. We cut out the vegan protein. We cut out Everyday Fit, the hydration product. We cut out the greens product. We even had a energy drink, right? We had energy powder. We cut that out. And what is our core product now and our only product? The Trulean Everyday Wellness Shot. Why? Because we saw an opportunity and we struck quickly and we made the best possible version of the product that we can. Now, today we have, this is like version 3 of the Trulean Wellness Shot. And what's really nutty about it is over 2 million of these have been sold in that short window of time. Even crazier is when we were a supplement company, we were competing as a commodity. While I was hoping that people would want to buy the higher quality of the vegan protein, the grass-fed whey protein, the greens product, and everything else, people at the end of the day were like, I'd rather pay less for a shittier quality. Cool, right? I learned my lesson. Just because I was successful in the supplement or in the franchise space does not mean that same success was going to transfer to the supplement space. I figured people would be willing to pay a little bit more for a higher quality product that had no chemicals in it and no preservatives in it. But that wasn't the case. People just saw whey protein as whey protein and greens as greens and energy as energy and hydration as hydration. Hey, guess what? Lesson learned. Again, very quickly, we looked at the numbers, and using speed of implementation, we started to cut the lowest profiting products out of the product line. Why? Because I was upside down $1.7 million at one point with Trulean supplements in the last 5 years. Now, remember, it's all funded through me. I didn't raise capital when I started this thing, and it's not like it's other people's money. It is my money that I put in and created an entire supplement line only to see that it was treated as seen as a commodity, and we weren't able to compete because we weren't able to keep the prices competitive with everyone else that was offering the basic level of whey, basic level of greens and hydration, because ours was a premium product and it cost us more to make, so we would have to charge you more of it, right? So we ended up cutting the products one by one. The lesser the profit margins, the faster we cut them, until we ultimately got to about 8 months ago, where we cut the last and final product line, which was the Trulean Everyday Fit, the hydration product, right? And sure, did we get a whole bunch of customers each time we cut out a product line, get pissed off and send angry messages, etc.? Yeah, because we did have loyal customers, but it wasn't worth it. And when you look at the numbers, you have to make fast decisions, because if you don't, that 1.7 can very quickly become 2.7 million in loss, 3.7 million in loss, until at some point my appetite for losing money meets my capacity. And I'm like, all right, guys, we have to put Trulean out of business, right? So that is why I started to very quickly cut products that were not serving the profit margins, the mission of the company. Guys, quick interruption to the Bedros Keuilian Show. If you want better health, more energy, you want to fight off inflammation, and you want to boost your immune system, then you are probably taking a lot of supplements like I used to. I say used to because I stopped taking all these different supplements, and you can now throw away your vitamin C, throw away your zinc, throw away your vitamin D3, your B12, your ginger, your turmeric, your echinacea, and your astragalus. Why? Because all of it now is available in the Trulean Everyday Wellness packets. So instead of spending $200 to $300 a month on supplements like that, for a fraction of that, you're going to get the Trulean Wellness Shot delivered right to your door for free shipping. And you're going to use the code BEDROS when you go to Trulean.com to get 50% off, and $1 of every single order goes to Shriners Children's Hospital. So go to Trulean.com, use code BEDROS, and order your 30-day supply of the Trulean Everyday Wellness Shot. Now back to the show. One of the missions was to create a very clean and natural supplement line. But the other mission was, like any business, to have it be highly profitable. And this was not profitable at all. In fact, like I said, I was 1.7 million upside down. So the lesson to you is that you have to sometimes aggressively and ruthlessly, with speed, cut out the products and services that don't bring the profit margins that you expected, or don't produce the results that the customers wanted, or that you thought the customers would want. I thought people would want grass-fed whey protein that was very natural, no hormones and preservatives, and naturally sweetened. Turns out not enough people want it. I can't say people don't want it. Just not enough people don't want it, right? What they did want was the thing that came out of an opportunity that existed for a small window of time, right? The pandemic, when the immune system was a big conversation. But as it turns out, people since then have become more aware that if we don't have a strong immune system, when the cold and flu season come, or when someone around you is sick, if you don't have a strong immune system, you're more likely to get sick. You're more likely to end up dealing with whatever repercussions that you're going to get from the COVID, the cold, or the flu. So I share this with you because for me especially, speed of implementation has been a gift in every single one of my companies, right? And I showed you a real life example. And today, Trulean only sells the Trulean Wellness Shot. We've got thousands of people on subscription who love the product. I use it. My whole family uses it. Everyone that I know uses it. Whenever we send these things out to people to try it out, like when I meet people and I'm like, hey, let me send you a box. Then next time I see them, they're like, oh my God, you gave me that box, I used it, and now I'm a subscriber of the product, right? So it does help to have an awesome product, that's an all-in-one that actually produces the results that you promise. So that's a factor that you have to meet. Once you do that, though, the rest of it is you have to act quickly. So, as I said, what are the things that are reversible versus irreversible? Because when I say act quickly, I gave you a great example in acting quickly to cut SKUs and products that we didn't need, and acting quickly to produce a product that people wanted and people are still a big fan of, right? But what else can you do? So when you think about this in business, speed of implementation is how we make money, because things that are reversible are things like pricing. For example, if you have a product or a service and you're like, I think I can raise the price and do better, but I'm afraid if I raise the price, what if business stops and we go out of business? You're not gonna. So one, you can have an A/B split test, 2 different web pages or 2 different application pages, and do an A/B split test using apps like the Google advertising or even Facebook business advertising, and it'll send traffic to every other page. And you can test out the more expensive page, and within 2 weeks, you'll know if the higher priced product or service is viable or not. If it's not, then you can revert back to the lower price, right? But that's a reversible thing. Another reversible thing is your marketing. You're like, all right, we're marketing on Meta, on Instagram and on Facebook and on Google, but I think TikTok might be the place. Cool. All right. So let's say you're going to dedicate $5,000 or $10,000 to start advertising on TikTok, either through paid ads or through sponsorship of influencers and ambassadors, right? All right. Well, you think that's going to be catastrophic. It's not. Yeah, you might lose $5,000 or $10,000, but what happens if you actually hit gold and you realize, holy shit, a lot of my ideal buyers are on TikTok. And in the process of investing that $5,000 or $10,000 on paid ads and influencers on TikTok, you might have a big breakthrough that could become the next million, $5 million, $10 million. Like, this is how we scale big companies, right? But also you can go to TikTok and lose that money and go, aha, lesson learned, pivot, stop spending that $5,000 or $10,000 and instead go find another opportunity, right? So pricing is reversible. Marketing is reversible. Fulfillment is reversible. Let's say you have a product or service and you're shipping from your garage right now. And you're like, all right, we've gotten so big that we are going to start shipping from a fulfillment house, right? Let's say like a 3PL or a Shipmonk or something like that. All right, so you're shipping out of there and they're doing a great job for you. Cool. You can expand to more of their locations across the country so that you can compete with Amazon that's delivering within 24 to 48 hours. But also, fulfillment might look like this, that your product is not getting any better delivery and you're just now paying more delivery fees and costs, right, when you're working with a fulfillment company. And so you end up pulling back and delivering stuff from your own garage, or ultimately make your own distribution center and deliver from there. The only way you find out if fulfillment's going to work or not is if you test it out. And you might test it out with one region. If it works, then you roll it out nationwide, right? Same thing with product lines. I told you, I created some product lines. They weren't a big hit, or at least they weren't a big enough hit to justify me keeping them. So I cut those product lines back. So there's so many reversible things. But when you think that things could be catastrophic and not reversible, you start panicking and freaking out and you don't test things. And therefore you don't find the opportunities that can take you to the next million, 5 million, 10 million. Now, there are also things that are irreversible, right? Irreversible things might show up as debt or your burn rate. Let's say you take on a lot of debt, or you take on debt where you took a loan out for like 18, 19, 20%, right? MCA loans. These MCA loans are very aggressive and hard to pay back, whether you take it out from Shopify or PayPal or wherever, because they extract money from the top before they put it into your bank account. So you might be taking, I don't know, a 20, 30% haircut off the top before they put the money in your bank account. That's not a favorable thing. I share that with you because I've seen debt and also a very high burn rate of money put businesses out of business. That is irreversible, right? Same with a poor product, right? Poor product, poor quality, very, very bad, because soon people are going to leave bad reviews. We live in a time of social media and review sites, Google reviews, Yelp, YouTube videos, social media. And if your product that is shitty ends up going viral because it's a product that didn't deliver the promise, it didn't show up on time, or it was somehow a bait and switch, right? Then very quickly your reputation is ruined. Or Your reputation of your product, you can put that aside. What about the reputation of you, the founder? If you are using yourself as a personal brand, right? Like I am the personal brand behind many of my companies. As is Elon Musk. He's the personal brand from behind many of his companies. He's the voice of his companies. You love him or you hate him. If you love him, you're going to buy his products and services. If you hate him, you're not, right? Same with me. Well, let's look at someone who's got a reputation where they lied. The Liver King, right? He had his 9 ancestral tenants. And he was like, hey, I'm going to eat liver and fucking bull testicles and jack off a goat and drink the fresh semen. But you don't have to do all that. You can just buy my supplement line and get the same results that I do. And when he was being called out, like, bro, are you on steroids? Nope, I'm not on steroids. Are you on steroids? Nope, I'm not on steroids. Until Derek from More Plates, More Dates broke the news on Joe Rogan Show, right? And then all of a sudden, what happened with the Liver King's reputation? He was shown that he's a hypocrite, an imposter, and a liar, and probably some kind of a sociopathic narcissist. And he only apologized because he got caught. And because of that, his product line, his sales went down. When your reputation is ruined, that is irreversible. There is no coming back from that, right? And so he might have to find other ways to make money, but he ain't going to make money jacking off bulls and donkeys and drinking their semen, because he no longer can sell the supplements claiming that you'll get the same results that he is when he was on $12,000 a month of testosterone and growth hormones and peptides and all this bullshit. Just fucking tell the truth, right? Just tell the truth. I tell you guys very openly, like back in the day, I was on a lot of juice in my 20s and early 30s. Then I stopped and had a family and kids and all that stuff. And then I started to feel lethargic. I started to feel slower and foggy headed, and my recovery was slower. And I went to the doctor in my 40s, and then the doctor's like, dude, your testosterone levels are low. We should probably put you on TRT. So now I'm on TRT. And guess what? I recover better. I'm not lethargic. I can focus more. I'm on TRT, and it's okay to say that. And I used to abuse steroids, and it's okay to say that. You don't like the idea of that? Don't do business with me. Don't listen to my shit. You like the idea of someone being open, honest, and transparent? Awesome. And if you're a dude in your 40s and 50s and 60s and beyond, and you're like, man, I feel lethargic, I don't recover as fast, I'm foggy-headed, maybe your libido is not what it used to be, go get a blood test from your doctor. See what your testosterone levels are. See what your thyroid is supposed to be at. Optimize your shit and do what I would consider as something healthy. I find it very interesting. I'm just going to go on a little tangent here, that we will put young girls as young as 12 years old on birth control to regulate their hormones and their menstrual cycle. 12-year-old girls are being prescribed by the doctors estrogen, synthetic estrogen, a hormone, no different than testosterone, right? That's the prevalent hormone in women. And then if you are transgender, female to male, they'll give you testosterone. If you are going male to female, they'll give you estrogen. But somehow there's still this stigma about a grown-ass man who has low testosterone levels and who's trying to optimize his testosterone levels so that he can recover from a workout, have better sleep at night, not be foggy-headed, gain his libido back. Somehow, oh, you're on TRT, that's cheating. No, bro. No, it's not. It's optimizing. Now, cheating might be someone who is playing a sport where there's supposed to be drug testing and these people are taking the drugs and they're somehow skirting the drug test. That is cheating, right? And they're taking so much of the shit. Like when I think about the 1 cc of testosterone cypionate that I take per week versus the 3 cc's a week of testosterone cypionate that I would take, plus all the other stuff like Deca and Anadrol and D-ball, right? When I was competing as a powerlifter, like those are two very different people. I had cystic acne so big on my back that I would lay down to do dumbbell presses and I'd sit up and my back was bleeding from those things popping. It's a very different thing, abusing steroids versus TRT. But old Liver King here, the fucking fraud, scammer piece of shit, well, he lied. He lied. And because he lied and because he misled tens of thousands of people, he ruined his reputation, And of course, his business did a header. That is irreversible. So going back to this, speed of implementation, understand that in anything you do, from idea to execution, if you can shorten the time, you will know whether or not it's a good product and you could launch bigger. And so if you have an idea, that doesn't mean you have to execute and launch to the world. If you have an idea, you might just make a sales site and see if people click on the web page, right? Promote the web page. And when they click on the web page to purchase, you could track how many people click, and you could pop up a little box that says, hey, this product won't, we're still thinking of making it. If you still want it, feel free to pay. We'll let you know if we make it in the next 3 or 4 weeks once we get a decent number of clicks. If not, we'll refund your money back. Like, you can test out whether it's worth actually deploying the product or not, or service, right? But the problem is you guys take so much time, energy, and money to try and create something that the window of opportunity closes, the momentum gets lost, and then you start having so much fear and anxiety over what can go wrong if this thing doesn't work out, because the risk is so high that you never pull the trigger anyway, and you wasted time and money, right? So test small, as my homie Jesse Isler says, and roll out big, right? So idea to execution. Faster you can do it. Test small, roll out big if it's successful. Number one. Number two is problem solution very quickly. If there's a problem, don't hide from it, run from it, and avoid it like most people do in your business or in your life for that matter. There's a problem, address it immediately, and then go right to a solution. And if you don't know what the solution is, say, I'm going to give myself 2 days to ask enough people or ChatGPT or Google or YouTube or whoever to get an answer. But you need to figure out the solution to that problem as quickly as possible, because the problem doesn't stay stagnant. It usually grows bigger, the roots get deeper, and the repercussions of that problem get far more catastrophic the longer you procrastinate, wait, avoid, and put it off, right? And then thirdly, opportunity to action. You need speed there. You see a window of opportunity. Like I saw that window of opportunity in March of 2020, and I created the Trulean wellness shot, right? Today, it's become the only product that we have under the Trulean umbrella. We got rid of everything else. We've gone singularity of focus on this product because it works, it exceeds expectations, it delivers on the promise, and it saves people money from all the different supplements they have to buy. So you see an opportunity, act quickly. Speed of implementation to action is a good thing, right? Now, also understand this as we close this off, that speed is also a little messy, and that is okay. In the process of making fast decisions, acting quickly, deploying solutions, you are going to be a little messy. That is okay. Be open to the idea of that, because as I said in the very beginning, success and money are attracted to speed. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Bedros Keuilian Show. Always remember this, that average is the enemy, that success is your responsibility, and change can take place in an instant if you are willing to flip the switch. I'll see you next time.